All right, good morning, everyone. I appreciate everyone being out early on a Sunday morning, especially a drizzly Sunday morning. Today, we are going to go through all of the mission work that this congregation does. As you probably know, this past year, we have changed the way we do our budgeting and our contributions. And on every fifth Sunday, 100% of the offering that day goes into our mission work. And the congregation responded very well, and it's been a marvelous thing to watch and to enjoy. But now we're going to have an opportunity. I'll tell you a little bit about the work that I do in Panama. We also have with us two guests this morning, Raul and Betty Alvarado, who are from Panama, the couple and the congregation down there that we work with. Raul is going to tell you some about the work that their congregation does, not only in Panama City, Panama, but throughout their country. And then each of our elders is going to give a report on the other mission works that we do, that you all participate in, that we as a congregation participate in worldwide. So there will be a full mission report today on everything in preparation for next year and our continued giving in that respect. So with that as an introduction, before we get into everyone else's presentation, functionally, what we are trying to do, and this is where we need your help, especially in the local areas. We need to develop more mission points, more mission work here in the local area. Good ideas are great ideas, and we appreciate those. And so we are trying to follow the biblical example of evangelizing locally, evangelizing throughout our country, and also evangelizing worldwide. From the time that I arrived here in 2014, yes, it's hard to believe if you do the math on that. Next spring, I will have been here 8 years. It doesn't seem like it. So, at least for me, time flies when you're having fun. But since I have been here, beginning in the summer of 2014, a group from Tallahassee, from Timberlane, went with me, joined in the existing mission team that was there. The first year, there were, I think, about a third of the team was from Timberlane. The rest were from Alabama. And as it has filtered through the years, as is probably easy to anticipate, it's now a full-blown Timberlane mission work. And we have taken 6 trips. We have conducted 43 medical clinics during that time, during those 6 trips. And 37 members of this congregation have gone on the trip itself. Most of those 37, I think that I counted it was 31 of the people that have gone more than once. We have 2 people that have gone every single time. So it's been wonderful to enjoy the fellowship, the camaraderie that is a part of the trip itself, but just the involvement, the response that Timberlane has made to the mission work down there has been amazing. And there were well over 100 people that have contributed financially to the trip. And many of you have answered the call. I've often said when we're preparing the trip, if you cannot go, then send somebody. Quite a few of you have done that. We also have now a scholarship fund that has been established by your generous contributions, that is there, that is waiting for us and is earning money each year for us to supplement anybody that wants to go. We can send the missionaries down on this trip. So we appreciate that. And the elders have committed from our mission offerings each year that they will put $10,000 toward the medical fund that we take each year, and that usually is about what we need for all of our medications when we go. So we are well on our way. If we can get over this pandemic, we will be in great shape and will be well funded, and then all we need is missionaries, young and old. Fundamentally, we take anyone over the age of 16. But if you are a parent and you would like your child to go with you, as long as you're going, then we can take younger than that. I think Madeline, the first time Madeline went, she was 8. And we've had several young people that have gone with their parents from here at Timberlane. So I know both the Connor boys have gone, Ethan Meadows has gone, both of the Angela Stewart's kids have gone with us. So it's wide open. We have a lot of fun. The kids have a blast, but we get a lot of work done. Since he's been here, Raul has been telling everybody, come to Panama on vacation, because if you just go with Lee, you'll just work too hard. So I don't know what that means, but I always tell everybody you can sleep when you get back home. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. During those times, those 43 medical clinics, all we do and what we do is we have basically a nurse-based. It is heavy first aid. It's not prescription medicines or anything like that, but it's providing basic medical care that they otherwise would not get or could not afford. It draws a wonderful crowd. We take a Vacation Bible School team with us that plays with the kids for a while, so we can talk to their moms primarily, but also their dads. And as a result of those 5,000 or more people have heard the gospel for the first time while they were there in our clinics. You've got a captive audience. We bring in the first 25 or so people, sit them down, we share the gospel with them. If they respond to the gospel, then as soon as they are baptized or we finish the follow-up study with them, they go back to the front of the line so that they don't feel like they've missed out on anything. But it's a good way of evangelizing down there, where you get an opportunity to share the gospel with people. When I was going down there before we started doing this kind of work, you would try the traditional gospel meeting at night after door knockings, and you may get 5 or 6 people that would show up, maximum. This way we get a lot more people and a lot of exposure there. Our approach to ministry is very important, I think, that we do not view this as Timberlane's mission work, where Raul and Betty and the other Panamanians help us do this work. We very much take it and look at it the other way. These brothers and sisters are very evangelistic without us. They are hardworking without us, and we look at it as an opportunity to help them do what they are already doing. I find it personally offensive, and I know that they probably do as well, when we come from North America and go down there and start telling them what they should be doing and how they should be doing it. That's just simply not right. They know their country better than we do, and so we simply try to assist them. And so each year, Raul will identify several areas that their congregation is focusing on, and then we figure out how many clinics we can do that year, how many people we have to pull it off, and we create a trip that usually will do 6, 7, or 8 clinics during that time. Several times we've actually done 2 clinics in one day, split the team, and gone to 2 different locations. We'll try to do whatever we can. And the one arrangement that I have with Raul and that he has with me, we will go anywhere he wants us to go so long as they will follow up during the year after we leave. The worst thing we can do is go and share the gospel with somebody and then abandon them in their home. So these brethren are very good. You'll see a couple of videos that will show the work that has been ongoing all during the pandemic. So with that as a kind of an explanation of our role in it, I'd like to introduce y'all to a very good friend of mine. I worked with Raul the very first year I went to Panama. It was accidental. And I was down there with another team, ran into them. They needed someone to translate. The very first sermon that I spoke through a translator, Raul translated for me, and we got along great. And the only hitch in that particular sermon was during the process, I was talking about faith versus works, and I said that our works and our meritorious works don't amount to a hill of beans. Apparently that doesn't translate well into Spanish, and Raul looked at me and said, would you like to rephrase that? So I learned a valuable lesson that very first time, and I appreciate this brother very much. But we had a lot of time together to kind of talk about the theories of mission work and our ideas, and I've learned a lot from him, and I appreciate him very much. So we'll turn it over to Raul Alvarado.
Buenos días. Good morning. It is a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you so much for your prayer or for supporting our mission work in Panama. I would like to introduce my wife, Betty. You can come forward, Betty. Yeah. Okay. We've been married for 37 years, and on Tuesday, we're going to celebrate our birthday, December 21st, December 22nd. I'm going to be 61, and don't ask Betty. She will say I'm 30 years less than Raul. So I have to summarize because Lee already said everything. So Panama is located in Central America, the last country going south. It's a very strategic city. We returned to Panama after living 14 years in the United States. We went back to Panama in September of 1999. And the reason we decided to go back to Panama is because Panama has been called the Mother Corinth, because it's a strategic geographical position. And we returned to Panama with three specific goals. One, to establish an organized and mature congregation in Panama City. Second, to establish a congregation in the main cities of the Republic of Panama following Powell methodology. And third, to begin and develop a Christian school in Panama City. So that is our three specific goals. This is the Metropolitan Church of Christ in Panama City. It's located in Millaocho, San Miguelito, which is the largest district in Panama, half a million people in that area. And right now we are about, let me think because I don't want to mention a preacher number, 130 members, including kids. The church in Panama City, the Metropolitan Church, have become a missionary church. We have established several congregations in the country, and the last 7 years we are working in this area in Colón, that's the Caribbean side of Panama. We have established, the Lord has established through our work, 5 new congregations among the Embera tribe, because we have 7 tribes in Panama. And I would like just to show you our project, the project that we have been developed in Millaocho. So enjoy this video. No, it's here, Lord. Just go ahead.
Praise His holy name. Salvation has been brought down. Oh, glory. Praise the Lord. Salvation has been brought down from heaven. Go and shout and tell the world around. Go preach it and tell it today to people in sorrow. Tell it today and tell.
Those were matched here at Timberlane, and then we sent $50,000 to Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was then matched, and we sent $100,000 there. Before that donation, this was a roof and a concrete slab. And so this front here with the windows, you can see the kind of the railing for the balcony that is up there. And then the auditorium itself, a couple of classrooms were a part of that construction project. That was a phase of it. Those shipping containers they have are their classrooms. And that is where they have their young people in there each Sunday. Because of space, you can see they've built right on the edge of their property line, and there's an opening there. The reason that there's an opening in their building that runs right through their auditorium is because the Christian school is going to be built on the back side, and it is going to be 3 or 4 stories high, and now they want to build the foundation and the framework for that. They have another offer of matching funds up to $160,000, so they're in the process of trying to raise the other $160,000 to build the school in the backyard back there. There's already pits dug for the foundation, but they're trying to fill it in so that they can enclose the rest of their church building. They have more rain than Tallahassee does. Can you imagine if we were missing a wall and it was raining right outside. That's what they deal with day in and day out. The other part is it's hotter in Panama than it is in Tallahassee. And so they're dealing with the weather in their auditorium. And shockingly enough, people still show up for church. I'm not sure if that would happen at Timberlane, but it does down there. So these are the projects that they are certainly involved in. If you'd like some more information from that, I'll gladly help you, and we can help them in any way that we can. But you can see that's what they've had to do, just simply because of logistics, so that now the concrete trucks and the workmen can literally drive through their auditorium to do the work on the back side. Once it is funded, it'll take about a year, and it'll only be the framework of that in the back, but the church building itself, all of their classrooms, everything then will be fully functioning. Raul's going to tell you a little bit more about the work that they've been doing during the pandemic. But I want to remind you that we are going to try to go this July. We have not been able to go since our trip in 2019. We're going to try to go in July this year. We're going to target July 11th, which is a Monday, through July 22nd, which is a Friday. We are going to take a medical team. We have, this year, we'll have more doctors and nurses. We have a Panamanian lady who is a doctor. She'll be working with us down there. But we'll be having the ability to do more of the medical work while we're down there. So if anybody would like to go on that trip, and I'll be nudging you along, by the 4th Sunday in January, we need a pretty solid list of who would like to go so we can begin planning all of our accommodations. We could not do what we do in Panama if it were not for this couple that is here. All of the logistical work on the ground in Panama is done by Raul and Betty, and all of the hotel reservations, all of the travel arrangements, all of our vans, everything that we need down there is arranged for us ahead of time. And you, through your contributions and donations and the team members that go, provide all the funding for all of that. And we appreciate that very much. And Raul's even gone to the extent of becoming a licensed tour guide in Panama so that he can get us deep discounts on our hotels. And so he's always negotiating, working it out, and they will comp his room so we not only get a discount where we stay, but one of the rooms is always going to be free. And so in addition to all the help they give us, it's a financial benefit to us when we go with him as well. And so we appreciate what they do, but know this, and you'll see this here in just a moment. Because we didn't go the last 2 years doesn't mean that they have been doing nothing. And I want you to know that all that you're about to see is what happened during the pandemic. Panama had a harder shutdown than we did. And it's very important for us to understand that they continued working through that time. So, Heather, if you cue up the second video.
Can you just raise the volume, please? I just want to say that we give all the credit to the Lord because we just His instrument. So just keep us in your prayers, supporting us. We are just your servant. We are just serving God and our people in Panama. Thank you so much. So enjoy this video. We're not working alone. We have become as the church in Antioch. So we have a lot of preachers, teachers, and helpers. So we are not working alone. Thank you so much.
In need of grace, in need of love, in need of mercy raining down from high above, in need of strength, in need of peace, in need of things that only you can give to me. This is my song, my humble need of love, in need of mercy raining down from high above, in need of strength, in need of peace, in need of things that only you can give to me, in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need, I am your child, I am in need of grace, in need of love, in need of mercy raining down from high above, in need of strength, in need of peace, in need of things that only you can give to me, in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need of grace, in need of love, in need of mercy raining down from high above, in need of strength, in need of peace, in need of things that only you can give to me, in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is my song, my humble plea. I am your child, I am in need of Christ, the perfect Lamb, my refuge strong, the great I am. This is
With all my heart, I thank you for being part of this Lord work in Panama. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raul and Lee. That was a very good presentation. And I'm sure it tells our brothers and sisters here some about the work in Panama. I know it's a great work. I've been there several times, and hopefully we'll be going back again. I want to share with you several reports I have on our work in Venezuela. Most of you, in reading the news, will know that there's quite a bit of conflict between the country of Venezuela and the United States, so much so that the American Embassy, as I understand it, is shut down now there. Venezuela has gone from a democratic country to a socialistic country under the rule of a man named Maduro, who has not gotten along with the United States at all. Consequently, we haven't been able to go there since about 2010. Now, previous to that, Our work first began in Venezuela, I believe, in 1997. That was the first year I went. I'll never forget that, arriving at the airport, and there was a bus outside that said, El Silencio, Church of Christ. We found out there was a preacher there in Caracas who needed support, and we were going to find out about it, the work, and start supporting Jose Quiones. And I got on the bus, and we rode for 45 minutes up into the mountains. And it was quite an exciting time. The bus was full. They had sent their people on the bus to escort us to the church building and to our hotel. And there was a young man on that bus, I'll never forget, named Luis Gomez. I hesitated on that because he's got about 4 different names. Sometimes I don't know what to call him. At any rate, that was an exciting trip. I know there's some here, perhaps in the auditorium now, that went with me on that trip. And on later trips, we made 8 or 10 different trips. But since 2010, Venezuela has been off limits as far as us visiting there because of the dangerous danger in the street. It's a crime-infested city. And hopefully things will change in the next few years. We'll be able to go back. But I want to talk about Jose. He sent me a report of the things that are happening there in Caracas now. He sent me a letter. Part of it I'll read. It's very short. He says, "Dear brothers and sisters in Christ at Timberlane, and to the elders, I want to thank you sincerely for your support for the evangelistic work here in Caracas and in Venezuela. It's been a year of great sadness and pain because of the pandemic and its ravages. Many are and have been sick. Some have died. And this without taking into account the economic misery which this government has subjected us to. However, the Lord's work has continued, and we are still meeting via Zoom, and sometimes in the building, and family groups are also meeting face to face. We have had Bible studies with 58 people, and 9 have been baptized this year. We have a good group of brothers praying day and night without ceasing because we believe in the power of prayer. We have been aware of our brothers, and let me stop here for a second. We have, in the last several years, taken up collections for the Christians in Venezuela several times because they didn't have food to eat. And I know that I have stood up in front of the lectern and talked about the starving going on in Venezuela and in Caracas, and our obligation to help them as our brothers and sisters in Christ. And you have responded so wonderfully. And this past week, we sent them more money, $2,000. I'll talk about that more in a minute, but if you would like to add money to that on your own, you're welcome to. Just see one of the elders or put it in the basket out front and write Venezuela on it. They're having a very difficult time there. It's dangerous to go out in the streets. They've been without food. And from the little we have, along with the offerings of God, it says we have helped many with bags of food. Sometimes they have to go through the jungle and go over to the Colombian border and buy bags of rice and cornmeal and things that they can break down and put in different bags to hand out to the congregation so they can eat. He says, my car has helped me with a lot of this face work that I'm doing because I can move freely around the city. It's broken down many times, but I always manage to get it back on the streets of Caracas. Today, the El Silencio Church has 154 members. And they're doing very well in keeping their members, although they have lost 4 recently due to death. Now, Jose says, I have many things to tell you, but I believe this report will give you an idea of the work that we're doing there. And many thanks to all the people at Timberlane during these difficult times that we're living through. It has been blood, pain, and tears. And may the peace and love of God always be with you. Amen. So Jose is having a very difficult time there. Jose has a wife and 4 children, actually 5 children, but several of them are grown now. Jose takes his salary that he gets in US dollars because the Bolivar there is almost worthless. I recently seen on the internet where they had just started printing 1 million Bolivar notes, which will probably buy a loaf of bread. Inflation is terrible there. It's unbelievable. But Jose gets paid in dollars through the methods we sent it to, and he shares his salary with the people there in the congregation and buying them food. It's been difficult, and we hope that things will change. We'll get to go back there. I don't know when that will be. But when I do, I will have videos and pictures to show you and do a side presentation like they did with Panama. But since it's been so long, I couldn't do that this morning. The pictures are old, the videos are old, and it is a good work in Venezuela. We have taken many people down there prior to 2010. We've baptized people, we've done Bible studies with people, and it's a great work. I want to switch gears for just a moment and talk about Luis Gomez. I first met Luis Gomez on that bus ride from the airport in 1997 up into the mountains to the city of Caracas. That was in 1997, and listening to Luis lead us in song on that bus, I knew that he was a man that would be a good preacher one day. And for the next 2 weeks, I spent just about all day, every day with Luis. But at night, Luis would just disappear when I went to my hotel room. And I later found out he got on the subway and was looking for a place to stay. Luis was an orphan, and he would stay with a brother in the church. Well, when I found that out, he would stay with me in my hotel room. So I got him a room, and he stayed in the hotel. And this went on for a couple of years, and finally we managed to get some money together to support Luis. A very small amount, only $40 a month. And then we raised it later to $60 a month, and he became the youth minister there. And he baptized many youth. And he did a great work, and we've seen a lot of potential in him. And we sent him to Panama, to the School of the Americas. It's a school there in Panama City, where they graduate about 20 preachers a year and send them out into the jungle. And Luis graduated in 2002, started a congregation on the east side of Caracas, a more affluent neighborhood, a less dangerous neighborhood. And Luis started that congregation in about 2003, and he left there in 2018 and went to Colombia with our support. It had a membership of 120. So Luis did a great work there on the east, the church in the east of Caracas. That's what they called it. But he told me, he says, just 2 years ago, he says, I can't live here under these conditions anymore. I don't want to raise my family here. So we got the money together and we moved Luis to Bucaramanga, Colombia. And he has started a congregation in Florida Blanca, Colombia, which is actually a suburb of Bucaramanga. So far, he has about 40 people in that congregation from nothing. Luis is a worker. Now, I know some of our people met him in Panama. We made arrangements for Luis to go to Panama. I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago. Is that right? Closely. And some of y'all met Luis Gomez. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a good preacher, and he's went to school, and he does a good job. Luis recently sent me a report of the things that were going on there, and I just want to highlight a few of them and share with you what he is doing there. And he said, my beloved brothers and sisters of Timberline, I greet you in the love of Christ, hoping that you're doing very well, and I thank God for taking care of us during this pandemic. We have been persevering in the face, and it has become a great challenge. It's a great privilege for me to contact you and share news about the blessings that God our Father has given us this year, serving in the city of Bucaramanga Columbia. We always thank God for being our support and protection, and thank you, my brothers and sisters from Timberlane, who have been our collaborators and supervisors of the work and the establishment of the church here in Florida Blanca. You are partakers of these achievements and these great blessings. Without you, these works would be impossible. Now, I have never had an opportunity to go to Columbia, but I'm thinking about going this summer so I can better or more effectively report on the work there. Louis is a great friend, and I've known him for, I guess, 24 years. He was just barely out of his teens when I met him, and I know he's got grown children now. But he has done a tremendous work there in Florida Blanca. They have 40 active members. They have about 10 visitors every Sunday, he says. They've had 5 baptisms this year. Average monthly contributions in their congregation is $221. So you can see that is not an affluent congregation. It's not an affluent city. There's a lot of poor people live there, but they get by. He conducts about 20 Bible studies every week, 80 on average every month, and they cover 260 neighborhoods in the city of Bucaramanga. Keep in mind that most of the Central American, or a lot of the Central American, but most of the South American countries are Catholic. So they have to work against that all the time. And they have done a tremendous job, though. He's had some personal problems with the COVID. His wife has had some problems and been sick. But they're doing very well health-wise. They're continuing the work there, and we want to continue supporting the work there in Bucaramanga. He says, finally, I want to thank all the members of Timberlane Church, the elders, and the members for their love, their unity, and their willingness to support this mission work in Columbia. May the Lord continue to bless you abundantly. It is the love of Christ that unites us. I bid farewell to you all. That's a great work there also in Bucaramanga. Unfortunately, both these places, especially Caracas, is not a place you want to visit right now. Columbia, it might be a little bit different. It's not nearly as dangerous. But we want to continue to support them in every way we can, especially in Caracas, although we can't go down there. We have confidence in Jose, knowing him as well as we do, that he is preaching the gospel just like we do here. Now, Jose has been here several times, and many of you have met him, but I know many of you haven't also. I don't know if we'll ever be able to get them back up here in the next few years, especially because of the pandemic, but I'm hoping they will relax some travel restrictions. But the American Embassy in Colombia is not granting any visas to the United States right now. I've got one other thing I would like to talk about before I turn it over to Don. And we had on November 28th a gentleman here, my name is Joey Farrell. And Joey preached that morning and had Bible class, and also he talked about some local mission work that we could do. It's called the Gospel of Christ. The Gospel of Christ is a organization that presents a video series. It's on the internet, it's on TV, and you can also get it on your smartphone. If you want to do a Bible study with someone, you can download their app. Just type in the App Store, whether you have an iPhone or an Android, Gospel of Christ, and load it. And you can access hundreds of video lessons. They're given not by Joey Farrell, but by Ben Bailey, a very articulate speaker. Hundreds of different lessons. You can use it for your own personal Bible study, or you can use it in a Bible study with someone else. But Joey did not give us a lot of information on how to access that. On January the 4th, the first Sunday in January, it will be on our local station. If you have on-the-air TV, everybody knows what on-the-air TV is? It's through-the-air TV. It's where you have an antenna. And that's what we used to have a long time ago before we got cable and internet. I know some of you younger people don't know what I'm talking about. But we still have through-the-air TV. It's digital, and you can hook a digital antenna to your TV, and you can pick up signal through the air. It'll be on channel 49.2 on through-the-air TV. Now, I'm going to give you some more information. You can get it also on Comcast, but you'll have to search, or Prism. Some of you might have Prism. You can go there and you can search for the Gospel of Christ, or you have to search for CW. It's on the CW channel. That's the old Comcast Time Warner channel. It's called CW now. It's on 49.2, but on Comcast, I don't know which station is on. I can't find it. You'll have to search for it by your zip code, and it'll come up, and you'll be able to watch it at 7:30 every Sunday morning. It'll be on every week. It'll be a 30-minute presentation by Ben Bailey, the same gentleman who's on the internet with these Bible lessons. Now, you can also go to the internet, and the internet, you can go to the App Store, you can type in the Gospel of Christ, and you can get hundreds of lessons right there. So 3 different ways: regular TV, through-the-air TV, cable TV, and internet. It's 3 different ways you can get it. Now, I'm going to send an email out to everybody we have an email address for in our office, and you'll get all these instructions, because I knew you couldn't write them all down as I was talking. So we only have a few minutes left. Tracy, you're coming up to talk? Okay. So Tracy's going to tell us about East Point.
So just briefly, I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on East Point. So as most of you may remember, the Hurricane Michael back in the fall of 2018 took out the building that East Point Church of Christ was worshiping in. They had flooding, and the building was unusable. So the church here provided support in several ways down to East Point. After that, we had contributions. We helped sponsor a fall fun fest. We had different members carrying loads and trailer loads of supplies and all down to the church and the community and all that. And then from that point on, the Timberlane, the folks here, through your generosity and your support, we were able to help secure them a building to continue worshiping in, and we paid the rent on that building throughout that time. And we also were paying a small stipend to the evangelist who was kind of helping work and coordinate things there for a while, just briefly before the hurricane hit. But again, all through your great generosity, all that was able to happen and to be able to. And we have great news to report this morning, is that just a few months ago in the fall of last year, the congregation there were able to secure funds and to buy the building that they had been renting, that we had helped them to rent. So just a few months, 2 or 3 months ago, they were able to raise all the funds necessary to purchase that building. So they now have a permanent place to worship and a building moving forward there at East Point, and so to go forward from there. Our goal was always to help them just keep the congregation of the Lord's Church in East Point, and we're very happy for them that have been able to find those funds to purchase that building and continue on. They're making great progress down there. We were going to see if there was time for question and answers. We don't have any time for questions and answers at this point because we are down to our last minute. Quickly though, I just wanted to say this. Pretty much everything this morning we've talked about is primarily out of our foreign missions and our missions. East Point's not a foreign missions, but all that was kind of funded out of our missions and our Fifth Sunday missions and the things that we've been asking you, and you guys have exceeded, the requests that we've had over this past year on our Fifth Sundays, and we were able to cover all of these efforts, these missions, and going forward. But There are also a few missions that probably don't get a lot of play, and real quickly, I just want to bring you up to speed on some of the things that we also do in our operational budget. Smaller amounts, but we're also helping 2 other evangelists or guys who help with local preaching, and more in the area of helping our Spanish-speaking brethren here locally. We also, disaster relief, we support that every month. We'll be talking about that later today in an opportunity for special giving for the folks that were just affected by the tornadoes up close to my hometown, up in Mayfield, Kentucky, and Arkansas and Tennessee and places like that. And then we also, Mount Dora and the Raintree Village. So a lot of these things are get supported that your contributions and all the efforts that you guys have and the generosity that you always seem to give when asked to give. So we thank you so much for that. You've never failed as far as the opportunity when we've asked you to give for a reason for that, including whether that's East Point or Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, whatever those might be. So again, we want to say thank you, and just to let you know that those are the things that we are doing with the funds that have been supplied and given here to Timberlane. And we are out of time, so I will close it off there, and we will close out our Bible class hour, and we'll get ready for worship period in the next few minutes. Thank you.